Shalom. I'd like to say all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahashemi Hawashai Bahashemar Kodesh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, or the true leaders of Israel today, and salutations to my Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, who are risking their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen but are not, by way of their forefathers, seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai, and the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as were the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. This is your brother Akale from the GMS Jamaica Kingston camp, and this video is about prophecy, specifically regarding the famine, and also all roads lead to the mark chip, which is that mark of the beast. Alright, so let's just get straight into it, man. Alright, because in regards to this famine, we're at the doorsteps of it. We're already seeing the shelves being empty, etc. Yesterday I went to this food place out here in Jamaica. It's named Island Grill. And it's very similar to, if you know, Pollo Tropical in Florida. It's kind of like that, just not as banging, to be honest. But with Island Grill, over the past couple of weeks, I've noticed that, their food supply has becoming shorter and shorter, and they're running out of menu items at a faster rate than usual. And I know that's not because all of a sudden everyone's going to Island Grill to make purchases. You know what I'm saying? Like they're getting this huge influx of customers. No, man, it's due to the shortages that's going on in Jamaica and around the rest of the world. And so yesterday when I was in the line, I was at the cashier and I asked the lady for a meal. She's like, "Oh, we don't have it anymore. All right, we ran out." And I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "What do you have?" She's like, "We only have chicken and fries." I'm like, "Okay." Now, it has an extensive menu that's beyond that, but only chicken and fries are left. You know what I'm saying? And so I asked her, I was like, so what's going on? Are you guys having food shortages or what's going on? She's like, "Well, not yet, but it's coming very soon." So, a minor experience, you know what I'm saying? But it's something that's truly coming, man. And, with the development of this famine, we can truly do a video on this famine every single day, But here it is from RT: pandemonium looms for the world as the everything shortage meets a dark winter thanks to collapsing global supply chains. All right, and even before I read this, I want to just get my first precept. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 5. "Behold, saith the Lord, I'll bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction." So these plagues are coming upon the world, the sword, famine especially, well, all of these. But this video is about the famine, death, and destruction, okay? So it's prophesied to come. All right, and you see that word pandemonium, pan, all, demonium, evil spirit. All right, and Yahweh Shemishai is going to be releasing a lot of evil spirits on a higher frequency in these end of days, man, that we're in, the end of the rulership of the so-called white man, the Edomites. All right, so a global supply chain is brewing, leading to a full spectrum shortage of essential items. This is the result of mass centralization where policies are dictated and synchronized by the aristocrats of the new normal, quote unquote, in other words, the NWO agenda, okay? The coming years will be marked by extreme socioeconomic turbulence. The world is reportedly facing an everything shortage where essential goods are getting harder, farther, and more time-consuming to find. These shortages affect the entire gamut of the social pyramid structure. The typical production to delivery cycle is repeatedly hammered by a macabre musical chair of woes in tune with Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. If the problem is not a lockdown, then it is a dearth of raw materials. If ports are ready to unload raw materials and finished products, then truckers are unavailable to pick them up. If truckers are available, ports are unable to process freights. Alternatively, the problem could be an acute power or fuel shortage due to the restrictions worldwide have also led to a shortage of essential labor, ranging from garbage collectors to pilots. Under the pyramidal hierarchy of the new normal, only the capstone, representing the top 0.1%, is truly detached and thriving. The long-festering supply-demand disequilibrium entered a point of no return when the DDD was declared in March 2020. All right, so I'm going to stop right here with this article because, as you can see, man, okay, if your eyes are wide open, you know, if the spirit of Yahweh Shemeshah is upon you, you can clearly see the purpose of this worldwide situation. All right, and it has been brought in to be used as a perfect thing to blame, all right, as to why the famine is happening, as to why the US dollars crash is happening, or when the crash happens, okay, the supply chain, why it's happening, all right, all these things, man, why it's happening, man. Why is it that we need to suddenly do certain restrictions unless you have certain formulas, you know, certain potions used, you know what I'm saying, within you, you know what I'm saying? Okay, it is the perfect catalyst that has brought on all these things, and it is what they are going to blame, but the ulterior motives are there. Okay, now let me jump on over to 2 Esdras chapter 16 and verse 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, right? The beginning of sorrows, same thing that is said in the book of Matthew chapter 24, which mentions the famines, yes, and it says the beginning of sorrows, okay? The beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So these things are coming, man. And it is going to be an amendment unto you wicked Israelites specifically, man. This is how you will be corrected heading into the kingdom of Yahweh Shemeshai. Okay? You're not going to make it, man, on this end. Okay? So you're going to have to enter the kingdom by way of death by pain. And the famine is no joke. Dying from famine is no joke, man. As it says in the book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 9, they that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger, for these pine away stricken through the want of the fruits of the field. So it's better to die by the sword, man, in whichever form that comes in, than to die of death by famine. Okay, now we have from Dabu, Chicken King warns cheap food era is over, food shortage hits Alabama school districts.
Abu 7, taking a look here at the issue with the food shortage here and what they're calling a supply chain conundrum, that they act like they don't know what's going on, this and that. Well, I've shared footage over on my Twitter feed of a man walking around at the ports that sat there pretty much all day with all these trucks waiting, and not one single crane had moved. Okay? This is the issue. People can say, oh, maybe they don't have a worker, or they don't have somebody to get up there and do that, but that's ridiculous. When one of the truck drivers was willing to get up there and do it. This is all because someone's stopping this, and if you don't see that, I don't know what to tell you. There's something going on here, and the bottom line is this. The supplies are thinning. The prices of stuff is going up. And if you look at someone like the Chicken King out of the UK, someone that's tied into food big time, they're saying food is too cheap. The chicken today is too cheap, and that you can expect everything to start to go up. This is a guy that produces 33%.
Chicken is too cheap, and then you can expect the price to go up. Same thing in the book of 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 21. Behold, victual shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion.
Percent of all poultry products in the UK. himself that made the statement, everything's going to go up. So an Alabama school just had to make an announcement that, yeah, we serve breakfast, we serve lunch, but guess what? We're running low. We can't get supplies because of all this stuff. So, food shortages hitting the schools. Some of the big suppliers warning that you better get used to this. I'm wondering, do people see the writing on the wall? And do you have a plan?
Do you have a plan? Do you have Yahweh Shemi Shai, man? Do you believe in Yahweh Shemi Shai? Because that's the only plan, man, to get through this. From the epic economy, shortages have begun at our local supermarkets as the global energy crisis goes from bad to worse. Another tough winter is coming for Americans, and on top of everything else our country has been facing recently, our supply chain problems are about to escalate to a whole new level as a very alarming energy crisis is rapidly spreading all over the world. Supplies for energy, mainly natural gas and coal, are getting increasingly tighter and prices are surging at breakneck speed. This is causing a power shortage that is dramatically affecting manufacturing in major exporting countries, including China. As a result, the flow of goods from one nation to another is getting even more strained, just as we start to approach the busiest shopping season of the year, which means that shortages in our stores are going to become a whole lot worse. US consumers are already witnessing empty shelves all around the country, and we may have to deal with even more shortages in the coming weeks, given that more and more goods are disappearing from inventories and never being restocked. Okay? Industry experts have been calling this phenomenon the everything shortage, and ever since it began last year, it has been intensifying with each passing week. Shoppers have been describing that every time they go to their local grocery stores, a wider range of products isn't available. Some consumer favorites cannot be found anywhere at this point, and customers are getting increasingly frustrated. In Charleston, West Virginia, local reports describe that the Piggly Wiggly, the entire bottled drink section is close to empty. Who would think that a Gatorade shortage would be a problem to get in the store? But apparently it is, and it is something that we have been wrestling with for quite some time now, said Jeff Joseph, store owner. The entire market is facing a shortage of plastic bottles. According to industry insiders, a variety of issues have been aggravating the problem in recent months and making it more difficult to keep shelves fully stocked. All right. So y'all get the gist of it, man. Another precept, 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Okay, and we're experiencing this now. Okay, soon too the fullness of this prophecy, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heard, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, right? Because that's what the famine is going to cause, right? And the earth shall stand in fear, and other things as well, but especially this famine. And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So there's going to be a famine of food and water. And you see, within this, where they've been mentioning the energy crisis and things like that, your water has been tied to the electricity. Okay, keep that in mind. It ain't nothing for the water to stop running through the pipes, man. Okay? Now, I just want to get one last thing. I want to show you people what else is going on real quick. Or maybe I'll save it for another video. I think the Spirit is telling me to save it for another video. Actually, you know what? Just bring it out. German state allows all businesses to ban customers even for groceries and other essentials. So even with the shortages of the groceries and that getting tighter, they're starting to only allow one group of people access to it over there in Germany if you have the and you can clearly see how all roads truly lead to the prophecy written in Revelation chapter 13 verse 16, where it says that no man might buy or sell save he that hath the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And Germany is a part of that beast. Okay? And they're all going to follow through, right? Which is NATO. And then you have the European Union, which is the 10 horns. All right, so just brace for impact, man, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. With that, I'd like to say all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemi Shai, by Shemar Kodesh. And by the way, this is just a prelude heading to that MOTB prophecy. With that, Shalom Abad Babal.